NFL Today insider and reporter Jason Canfora here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think of that one, Jason?
Dude, I was supposed to compete with that? Hang up on me right now and keep playing that. Give the people what they want. I can't compete with Elway. Come on, man.
So this one's for Pat. Brockman here thought that he sounded a little angry when he said that. He really laid into this one's for Pat, Jason.
That's once more with feeling, huh? That's something there.
Had to be something else. All right, let's get into it. When do we hear this decision from Peyton? When does it happen?
I would think before the combine, Rich. I don't know that it's got to be, dragged out much beyond that. Certainly, he wants to do it on his own terms. Of
course,
he's earned that right, and we could have sent every single reporter we have at CBS up to keep asking him that question Sunday night as long as we had him on that podium, and he wasn't going to do it. Will there be an official beer sponsor of his actual announcement? Stay tuned. You never know.
I said at the top of the show, Jason, maybe a special pizza where the pepperoni spells out "I'm out" or
that
deuces.
That would be good.
Like deuces.
Or he could just get together a bunch of empty cans and Budweiser bottles.
They could do that.
Spell it out that way.
Well,
like on a beach somewhere.
Apparently,
I'm done.
Apparently he has no Budweiser sponsorship. One of the chief marketing.
People have been talking about it a little bit on some other radio shows, and people have been tweeting at me that he owns 2 Budweiser distributors,
why not?
Distributorships or something
sense.
like that. I do not know if that information is correct. I'm merely passing it on to the good people who passed it on to me. But yeah, look, he doesn't want this to get weird, because at a certain point, like he would be cut. I mean, they're not, his $19 million would be guaranteed at the start of the league year. That's not, that's not happening.
Yeah, well, you know how this works, Jason, that as long as there's a void, we're going to fill it, and the media, or at least fans, are going to fill it when they call into shows like this one. Is there any possibility that Peyton Manning, that there's part of him sitting there thinking, you know what, I'd like to try it with somebody else? Because it's definitely not Denver, correct?
Yeah. Well, look, first of all, he's enough people I've talked to who were around him Sunday night are completely convinced that he's retiring. And I really believe this decision was made before then. I mean, Archie knows. There's so many smart people. Archie lived this. You know what I mean? He's got Cooper sitting there and what he's been through. He's got Archie, who knows what it's like to be a guy who can't do what once came so naturally. He's lived through the health scares, and he was not an effective quarterback this year, except for the Green Bay game, really at all. I mean, he had a 56 quarterback rating in the Super Bowl. I know he's playing against a good defense and all, but no, Rich. And then if you want to really play it out pragmatically, so he's going to not retire, and the Broncos cut him, and he's a low-level free agent, and you'd have his buddy Jimmy Haslam, who would have some interest, and that would sell a lot of jerseys, but does he want to be a show pony in Cleveland? Or, the L.A. Rams, where as good as that team is, at least in paper, in terms of some roster guys, I mean, we know how good Robert Quinn is. We know how good Aaron Donald is. They're not moving the meter in L.A. right now, I venture to guess. You're a lot closer to that than me. But, so yeah, could he sell some tickets for Stan Kroenke, and would Stan Kroenke give him, I don't know, $10 million or something to play another year? I guess, but that's not how this goes down. He's too smart for that. He knows. It's just a matter of when he wants to formally announce this.
Jason Canfora joining me here. So what about the Brock Osweiler chase then? Because I imagine if the Rams were given a choice of either one of the quarterbacks to go get, it would be Brock, correct?
Yeah, and the Broncos have to turn their attention to Brock now and get that done. And the amazing thing for this, and I don't know anyone planned it this way, but it makes Elway and Kubiak look like geniuses. If it had been Osweiler riding shotgun for this defense and just not messing it up, even if that's all he would have done is what Peyton did, the kid would have just won a Super Bowl, and you'd probably be having to pay him $10 million a year or more. By him essentially getting that small window, showing just enough, but not playing in the money games, my guess is he comes in at somewhere around $5 million a year.
You don't think somebody's going to go ahead and go crazy and maybe overpay him and
I don't think. Look, first of all, if he's smart, Denver makes the most sense. They just showed you can. Look, kid, you can come and win a Super Bowl with us.
Oh, well, there's no doubt.
Just don't mess it up. There's not that many of those teams, or most of the good teams in this league have a quarterback. And then you look at the three. There'll probably be 3 or 4 who were drafted in the first round. You know what I mean? Like Houston. Are you going to go think that's an overwhelmingly great situation? And even if you're Houston, you've tried the Band-Aid thing now 3 times. He's got to draft and develop a quarterback there. Mm-hmm. Osweiler's been there for 4 years. He's comfortable there. I don't think anyone's breaking the bank for him regardless. The system suits him. It just makes too much sense.
Yeah, it does.
Denver's going to lose some players, especially on defense. But the 2 no-brainers to me are, just go ahead and slap that tag on Von Miller and eventually know that you're going to have to give him $60+ million guaranteed by July 15th to get that done long term, and focus your energy on getting this Osweiler contract done in the next month before the league year opens.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to use the word overpay because there's really no such thing in the NFL. It's whatever the market bears.
Right, true.
That's the way it works in the NFL. I've got Jason La Canfora here on the Rich Eisen Show. What'd you make of the Manziel story that our buddy Mike Silver put out there yesterday? What's going on with that in Cleveland?
Well, I don't know that there's two things here, and I don't know that they're mutually exclusive. Right? You could have showed up to work, and I say you. He could have showed up to work hungover. He also could have been placed in the concussion protocol by an independent third party. Like, both those could happen. So, now why was he technically sent home and what have you? I think when you start trying to pinpoint intent and who knew what exactly at what time, could the position coach have been of one mind per se that, he just wasn't ready to work, but somebody higher up the food chain, have been told, hey, the kid's got to go, the kid's got a concussion anyway. I've been a beat writer in the NFL in the past. It's not uncommon to see or hear about players and even coaches being hungover at work. I dare say it's far from outside the norm. So that in and of itself isn't shocking because it is Johnny Manziel and because it was the last game of the year and he ended up going AWOL and, going to Vegas and whatever. I think we put a little bit of a finer point on it. But I just don't know what's next for this kid, Rich. It's got to be some sort of
rehab.
It's got to be mental, spiritual, holistic, like decision making. It's got to be mind, body, and soul. And it's got to come from him and his heart, and he's got to recognize it, and he's not there yet.
Jason, it could be jail. It could
absolutely.
Who knows?
I'm just focusing on what he can control right now. Obviously, if these allegations are true, he should be in jail. This should be taken out of his hands and the league's hands and anybody else, any Jerry Jones's hands, anyone who would have any flirtation with him. I don't know how expeditiously they'll work down there. Mm-hmm. I don't know when or if the DA would have a timetable for when they would want to present charges. If they're going to present charges, I would tend to think sooner rather than later. But he obviously has an array of things he needs to work on. And, Eric Burkhart last week was trying to facilitate him hitting rock bottom and realizing, like, there's still people who love you and care about you, but we can only lead you to water so many times without you drinking. And if you drink, then I'll be there, and I'll ride saddle, and I'll get you to the facility. I'll do whatever I can to facilitate it. But until you have that moment of clarity and decide this is what I need to do, then there is nothing else I can do for you. And sadly, I think that same sort of tough love, I don't even know if it's sadly or not, but sad at the situation, is being doled upon him by many people in his inner circle, and they're waiting to see if the message gets through.
Yeah, you're referring to his agent who dropped him last week. Jason La Canfora here on the Rich Eisen Show. In the couple of minutes I have left with you, I want to hit on a couple of subjects. RG3, when does that pop? And who takes him? Best you can read.
I'm intrigued by the 49ers. The Kaepernick thing there, it's a lot of trust issues. It'd be a big genie to try to stuff back in that bottle. And if they do trade him or what have you, I could see RG3 and Chip Kelly. I don't think Chip Kelly's there for long, right? I think it's 2 to 3 years. And could this kid come in and play anything like 2012 for a year or two? That's one that's intriguing to me. And really, Rich, the combine is when people will assess the market at the combine.
Right.
But that's one where I don't think it'll even be a trade. It's just addition by subtraction, time for him to move on, and they'll cut the cord.
What makes you think Kelly's only going to be in San Francisco for 2 to 3 years, Jason? What was that about?
It's the hunch. I'm just looking at that roster. I'm looking at that division. I'm looking at the siren song of the NCAA that will always be out there. I don't think that's a quick fix in San Francisco. I think that's an organization. I don't know if that organization has hit rock bottom yet. Maybe they have. I'm sure they hope they have, but they got a mess to still sort out with the quarterback.
Okay.
Where are Arizona and Seattle going? You know? I don't know, Rich. That one, man, I don't know. My guess is I give it 3 years. I put the over-under on Philadelphia at 3 years, and I would put the over-under on this one at 2.
Calvin and Lynch, last one for you. Are they both really retiring? Are they both out?
Yeah, they are. They are.
Wow.
I'd be stunned if they reverse course at this point. It's not a negotiating ploy. It's it's just where they are. And I think, you know what? I think we need to applaud this. Like, you know, I don't know that it's something we need to bemoan or hand-wring over. These are, you know, conscious decisions being made by men who know exactly what they feel mentally, physically. They know what they've been through. They know what they have in their bank account. They know where their heart is, and they both have a lot of other things they can pursue. You know, Lynch has the entrepreneurial thing going on. You know, Calvin, I'm told, has done incredibly well with his money. And if you're not up for we don't. Oh my God, how they make this sausage from Monday to Saturday? What these guys put their bodies through. If you're not up for it, man, I get it. I get it entirely.
Jason, great chat with you, man. It's been too long. Thanks.
Hey, anytime, brother. Thanks, Rich.
I appreciate that. That's Jason Canfora of CBS.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.